Can you go, please? There you go. Thank you. Took your time. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My new PC is already causing me troubles. But anyhow, you might notice Luke is not here today, but we will be having Luke on as a video here that he has sent through. He couldn't make it today because he had Valentine plans with his girlfriend. I haven't watched this yet. I'm not sure if you've watched it.
I've saved it.
Haven't watched it yet?
No.
Let me share my screen with you so that you can also see it.
Alright.
Sorry, this one. There you go. You can see it now?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, perfect. So yeah. I think we're just gonna go through Luke's things here and then talk about what he's talking about. And when we finish the video, we'll go on to the subjects that I've prepared. Is that fine with you?
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Okay, so let's start it.
Hello everyone, Luke from the Show here. Unfortunately, I know I'm not on the show today. Big up to Connect and Alf for doing the show together. Unfortunately, I've got plans on the Valentine's Day, unfortunately, for once in my life. So yeah, I thought instead of me saying nothing, not doing anything, I thought I at least sort of give my thoughts and Alf can share them, obviously, on the stream right now.
Back up to Luke, by the way, for sending this in. I didn't ask him to do this. He just decided, like, hey, I'm not gonna make it. I'm gonna record this for you. So big up to him for that.
Yeah.
So obviously I won't sort of wait too long, but sort of give you some quick thoughts on the FA Cup, Champions League, and also on Pep as well, which is an interesting topic right now. Now, the Orient game, it wasn't perfect. It definitely wasn't. I think. Well, we always had Vitor Hayes playing, obviously, certain players and a different sort of team. But we should have scored more than 2 goals at least. I think Orient's goal was obviously quite fortunate, and I think in the end it probably should have been like a 3 or 4-0 game. So it wasn't really concerning as such, but it was also a lot of work to sort of build on from that game onwards. But it was still a win, obviously, and we're through to obviously play a Plymouth obviously at the start of March. So I still didn't know, which is good. Yeah, I mean, in terms of performances, I thought Gonzalez started off really well. Obviously, before got injured. I thought Marmoush did okay. Again, obviously he hasn't scored yet. People are panicking, but we've got to remember that for him personally, he's a team that's just terrible right now, out of form.
What do you think about what he says there with Marmoush haven't scored yet because he's had a terrible team?
Yeah. I think there is obviously a bit of pressure for Marmoush to get that first goal because, he's one of the biggest signings in terms of January, not just in terms of City, but in terms of the whole world of football. He's one of the most expensive deals to happen in Jan. In this window, that have been more expensive in history, of course. But yeah, there is obviously that problem with the first goal. But I think it's key to remember that he hasn't had a pre-season with City. He's quite literally come in and has just had to try and adapt on the training ground and obviously on the pitch. And the oppositions he's been up against too haven't necessarily been great. Obviously, Leighton Orient, you would put on paper that he'd score. But yeah, like Luke quite rightly says, he's come into one of the worst City side performing sides since Pep's probably come into the club. And it's a lot to handle. I don't think many attackers would look too great joining the club right now. I don't think it's a him problem, to be honest.
Yeah, I've talked about this before. I've talked about this all season with Haaland, and I sound like a broken record, but Erling Haaland, the amount of goals he has for this team, which is awful, I think is better than his 36 goals in the treble season. The fact he is scoring with the abysmal service he is getting, the type of goals he's scoring, the occasions when he scores, it's actually unreal. And I think if we had a better team right now around Haaland, and I guess in general, I think Haaland would have way more goals, which is ridiculous because he has 19 goals, 20 goals right now in the Premier League alone. I just think the team around our attacks right now, the midfield, the defense right now as well, it's just so weak that our attack suffers because of it as well. So We can't even outscore our opponents because we can't get to the ball to our attackers to get into positions to score in. So it's kind of sad, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a good point you bring on Haaland. A lot of people, like a lot of rivals looking in, have been saying how bad he's been and all that. But for City, like you quite rightly mentioned, he had a great season in the treble season, but in a season where City are playing so bad, he's got over 20 goals, and I think he's probably closer to 30 goals than he is to 20. I'm not sure on exactly, but he's still scoring a ton of goals. 20 plus goals in a season is still pretty good for a striker.
He's
It's
got
not.
8 goals in Champions League.
There you go.
I generally can't remember him scoring that many times.
He obviously
got
got
that goal
two.
against Sparta Praha.
He got
2
two
against
against
Madrid.
2 against Feyenoord. He got a brace there. I could have sworn.
No, he's only scored once.
And scored once against Feyenoord.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Where
Okay.
else did he score? Did he score against Sporting? He missed a penalty, didn't he?
Yeah, he did miss a pen. Foden scored against Sporting. Yeah.
Wait, let me check this on transfer markets.
Yeah.
Transfer market. Yeah. I mean, 8 goals and 19 goals. He's not played a cup game yet.
Yeah, resting in there.
Luckily.
Yeah.
Haaland is carrying us. Absolutely, Rosa. Talby for me. Yeah, fair enough. Let's see. Where did he get these goals? Oh, by the way, let me show you something else that's ridiculous. We're getting completely off topic, but that's fine.
Alright.
It's Valentine's anyways. Nobody's watching this. Let me just Aguero. So you know how Aguero is a more complete striker?
Then Haaland. Yeah.
So check your assisting stats. And I'll do the same for Haaland in a second. Not Premier League. Champions League. So. Oh yeah, he scored 2 against Sparta Praha. And you're right, he did score a brace.
Okay.
Yeah, PSG. I forgot about that already. And Slovan Bratislava. This guy just picks up goals every second game. On his bad season.
Yeah, I think his worst goal drought in the Prem was 3 matches. He scores almost.
4.
Was it 4?
Last season was 4 or 5, wasn't it?
Yeah, last season, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Unless you meant this season.
This season, I think it's about 3. Which is
on
still
his bad
good.
season.
Yeah, and in his bad season, a 3-game goal drought. He's still what, second in top goal scorers in the Prem? I think Salah may have overtaken him.
Let's see here. Premier League. This is more interesting than Man City right now. Way too depressed to talk about that. Yeah, Salah is on 22. And same game played. But he's in a way better team as well.
Yeah, Salah and Liverpool have obviously been flying this season.
So let's check Premier League assists here for the more complete striker. 8 is the most in a single season. Do you want to know how many Haaland got in his debut season?
Was it 5?
More.
10?
I'll show you.
Alright.
Well, in Premier League alone, 8. But he got 36 goals on top of that.
Yeah, that's 44 goal contributions. That is wild. 44 GNA.
And if you look at the season after that, the 4 beats, and I think we all agree that this 4-beat team is not as good as any team Aguero has probably gotten like these insane numbers for. Like Centurions. Is the 4-beat team that good?
The 4-peat, I think the 4-peat was quite dodgy last season.
Yeah.
At times.
Aguero got 2 assists more than Haaland that season. And Haaland was shit for half that season because he went out injured and we rushed him back.
Yeah, he got a big injury.
When people talk about Haaland not being a complete striker, it's absolute bollocks because I know it's only stats here that we're looking at right now, but people say Haaland is not complete because they expect him to play like Kane. Just because you don't play like Kane doesn't mean you're incomplete. But
Yeah.
a lot of people don't grasp that. But like, look at how Thierry Henry played under Pep. People would lose their mind if Thierry Henry played today that way. They would be like, "Oh, this guy is shit." People just can't comprehend that managers not allowing players to get involved doesn't mean they can't do it. Weird stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's continue here. We got completely sidetracked.
We've got to be patient with him. Now, in terms of everyone else in the team, I thought Savinho played pretty well. I thought Kusadov scored, obviously did very well when he came on. I thought KDB did well. So Grealish. So it was good performances overall, but it wasn't like a standout performance that's worth talking about for years to come, if you know what I mean. But it is what it is. So obviously, I'll move on to the next game now. Madrid. Oh, wow. That was not good, was it? I mean, Haaland, brilliant. Guardiola, brilliant. Certain performances out there, brilliant. I know people said that De Bruyne wasn't great. Now, I can see why. Obviously, going forward, obviously, was doing.
I think he's about to go on a bit of a tangent here, so let's stop there. What do you think of De Bruyne's performance? Because the sea is split here, as I see it.
Real Madrid, it was such a mixed bag because I think it's safe to say we went into that not really thinking we were going to get much out of it. Went in thinking that if there was a time to get anything out of it, it was that game. But
Yeah,
I think the most gutting bit was that we did decent for the most part and we still bottled it. But yeah, in terms of players that played well, Luke started with Haaland and Vardio, which I completely agree with. I thought John Stones, when he was in that midfield role, I thought he was playing good. Grealish, I think for like the half an hour he played before he went off injured, I think he was looking quite good, and the ball he sent over to Vardio, which was lovely, which got chested down to Haaland. And I think Akanji as well. Such a shame that he's picked up what was it? I think he's got 8 to 10 week injury.
8 to 10 weeks, yeah.
Yeah,
I actually had that open here. I wanted to talk about that in a second, and I can't find it.
But
I had it open on Twitter.
2 injuries in the first half was rough. Meant we probably had to change a little bit in the second half, as we saw, and second half definitely struggled a bit more, and it showed because we conceded a lot of goals.
Yeah.
But despite that, got to the 80th minute, got a penalty which could be deemed a little bit lucky because it was just about in the box, but penalty nonetheless, and we took it. And we couldn't keep a hold of the lead for 10 minutes. It just comes down to those silly moments of giving away the ball. And for me, a lot of people go at Edison for the second goal we conceded, the one Diaz scores, and people are right by that because it's a silly kick. I don't know what he's doing. And for the third goal, I do think Edison is partly to blame because of
I
how
don't
he comes
think
out.
the third goal is on Edison. Because,
Neither do I.
Okay, it's Edison does poorly. He should not be in that situation anyhow.
Yeah.
To begin with.
It's Kova who's at fault because that pass is what is he doing? It's like in the air, volley, side kick.
I'm not sure what he was doing. You know what I think? I think we substituted all the wrong midfielders. Well, De Bruyne should have not even started, I think. Retrospectively, I would have started him, but retrospectively, I think Da Silva is right here. He put in chat earlier, De Bruyne can't do full 90s. He's just too old, and he'll never be able to do that again. I think he's right to be a bit blunt here, which is sad, isn't it? But I think we have to realize now, De Bruyne is still a good player, but he's old. just like Modric, who is a bit older, obviously, but he can come off the bench and be really good. But you start him, Modric starts, he's terrible. De Bruyne starts, he doesn't look good, does he? So maybe we have to get used to him being a substitute player.
I think that's probably bang on, to be honest. And I hope if De Bruyne does stay, and I don't mind De Bruyne staying because I think he's clearly got the talent at the top level. I almost think the Leyton Orient game shows the kind of role he could have because he got subbed on and won us the game, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I think that could very well be the role that he takes. And look, maybe he thinks that maybe now would be a good time to go and get a cut of that MLS money or the Saudi money. But I think if he's willing to stay at City and, willing to take that bit more of a super sub role almost, as opposed to the regular 90 minutes in, 90 minutes out De Bruyne, I think that he still very well has a place in this team. But I think, he can't do more than 60 minutes starting at a push. Because
I completely agree. And I flip-flop on this like every week, but is Bernardo still able to play off the bench?
I think let's say summer comes around. I think you can keep Bernardo, and I think you can keep De Bruyne, but I think you've got to get rid of. I think you've got to get rid of two of the midfielders.
Yeah, absolutely.
And look, I think Gundo is basically a given. To be honest, he can't even complete a half against a top team, in my opinion. And
he can't even do it against Leyton. I'm sorry, he did not look good that game.
Yeah, agreed. As much as it pains me to say, because I was one of those people that didn't want Gundo to leave initially, as I think most City fans were, because he was brilliant at the back end. But since he's come back, he's obviously not the same, and it's a shame. But he can still leave and be a cult hero at the club, obviously, because of the stuff he did.
Or the coach.
Or a coach, he could very well go on to get his badges, maybe, and who knows, maybe even go to the days of coaching.
Correct me if I'm mistaken. There was an interview with Pep Guardiola who was asked during the treble season who he thinks amongst the players would make for a good coach. I believe he said Gundogan, right?
I think, that does actually sound familiar. I think you're actually right there.
Yeah, I'm just loosely remembering that. Treble season is 2 years ago, by the way. Well, you want to know an even better one? Lionel Messi's debut is more than 20 years ago.
More than 20 years ago?
Yes.
What?
Football is stats.
Oh, man. Over 20? Oh, man.
We're old now. That's the gist of it. But what I was going to say is I think Bernardo Silva should go. But the reason I brought it up is I think he can still play off the bench for us for the rest of the season. For the remainder of the season, off the bench, I don't think he's that bad. I think when Bernardo Silva plays, he has like one half in him. When you get to that second half, he just shuts down. And we always play worse in the second half than in the first half. I think that comes down partially due to old midfielders. De Bruyne, Bernardo, Kovacic even. So our entire midfield. Just getting tired. Bernardo Silva, off the bench, I don't think it's that bad for the remainder of the season. But we just can't start him, and he has to go in the summer.
Yeah, I think you're right there by when the first half, second half thing, and you'll see that in most of the games that we've gone on to lose, like we have been winning, or at least level at certain points. Like against Brighton, we were 1-0 up at half time.
Yes.
Sporting, I think we were 1-1. To be fair, but either way, 1-1, you can still very well go on and win that game. Madrid, we were obviously beating 1-0. United, we were beating 1-0. the list goes on. Feyenoord, I think we were beating 1 or 2-0. We went out to go 3-0 though. We still didn't win. Your second halves just seem to be failures for us, and
Yeah,
I
it's
think it does come down to the tired legs, like you mentioned.
just constant collapse, but those are just put in Chat's head. Luke frozen in time, so I think that's a good moment to continue from Luke here.
Pretty much going forward, but I wouldn't say his effort levels were terrible. I think he obviously does care, Kevin De Bruyne, and we all know that. But we all know that his levels are dropping now, and I think as a squad player he's fine, but we can't be relying on anymore on first team performances. I mean, every now and again he has quality in games like this when given extra time on the ball and that. But right now, we haven't got that at all right now, and obviously it's showing. So me personally, in terms of Champions League and the overall game, it's disappointing. It is disappointing. I mean, the fact that we were up 2-1, now obviously we went 1-0 for a great goal. Kev to Vardiol, went over to Haaland to Grealish. The overall play was phenomenal. Brilliant goal. The wait for it was.
By the way, ball in by Grealish there in the box. He gave the ball to Guardiol, who laid it off to Haaland for that goal.
Yeah.
So Grealish, we saw the identical thing with him giving the same pass to De Bruyne in the FA Cup. How long is Grealish injured, by the way?
I don't even know if we've had an update on that, because we heard the Akanji stuff. The fact that we haven't had an update could be, you could make an argument that that's a good sign, that maybe it's not serious. But at the same time, maybe it's just taking a while to get a verdict on it.
Okay, potential return is tomorrow here, it says. And there's a quote here from Pep. Not as serious as Akanji. I don't know if tomorrow he will be ready. I don't think so. We will access in the next hours. So it does seem like it's not that big of a deal. Hopefully it's not rushing him back. I don't think we would rush him back. He's not the biggest issue at the club. So Oscar de Bob is almost back, by the way.
Oh, good.
No return date, but maybe he'll come off the bench a few times. I pray.
Hopefully get some cut minutes, because I'm a huge fan of Oscar Bob. It's such a shame.
Yeah, that is like the one injury this season that was completely poor luck.
Yeah.
It's such a shame.
It was actually quite annoying, I thought, because if you got the old man off cycle, right, surely he'd be able to tell straight away he's not onside, carry on, but not 4 minutes. I'll say 4 minutes. Seriously, come on, man! Like, it should be very simple whether it's offside or not. But the fact of the matter is, great goal for the first goal. Mbappe's goal was quite lucky. Yeah, the marking wasn't great, but still the finish was quite fortunate how it went in. So I can't really blame anyone for that goal, really. Haaland penalty, great penalty, great performance over from Haaland, despite obviously not.
Give me a second here.
Right.
I'm hearing something bashing at my door. Feel free to talk about what he just said.
Alright, cool. Yeah, I was actually thinking about the Mbappe goal. It never leaves my mind, because it is a bit of a fluke goal. To be fair, it's a funky. He's obviously going to strike it, but like hits like almost near his knee, and the Mbappe goal was just so unlucky to concede. So unlucky.
It was my dog. She decided to go upstairs. So sometimes she does just that. I was like, what the hell is that outside here? But yeah.
Not many chances for him overall. The Brahim Diaz goal. I mean, seriously, Edison, man, what are you doing, bro? Edison, look, for me, his mindset clearly isn't here anymore.
You know what, as well? We'll get into this a bit more later, but I really watched that full game because I hate myself. It actually gets worse when you rewatch it. I just don't understand what's going on there, but like, do you think Ederson is getting to that point as well in his career where he's getting a bit old and starting to lose focus in some moments? Because that's all I can think of.
I mean, this season, look, you see, I spoke about this on stream not so long ago. As we know, we've been having a lot of bad moments from players making silly mistakes, and Edison has been victim to that. He's made a few,
Yeah.
and it's such a shame for Eddie because like he's been one of those players that's been here since way before the treble season. He's not typical to make these errors, and so it's almost a mystery.
He
And
joined into St. 13th, didn't he?
yeah, exactly. Like like you say, like Luke said, it almost feels like the concentration isn't quite there, or like his head's not quite in the game. And I'll be fair, I actually was impressed with Edison for most of that match. I thought he made a lot of good saves. I think he was a big reason why we were in it. I think he made about 5 saves that game, but
Yeah,
I think
something like that.
yeah, you can't do anything about the Mbappe goal because it's just a funky one. But the other two, was the third one I don't blame him as much. Was I still don't think his positioning is great. The second one is just I don't get it. And yeah, I think if we're going to keep him, I think we need to invest in a young goalkeeper to be his understudy for next season, and then who will take the reins the following maybe or something.
How old is this man? Oh, he's 29 already. How did these random 29-year-olds just spawn? I accidentally closed the video. It's got issue by me. Whatever, let me just open the DMs here. I am now streaming out DMs to the entire world. A lot of important stuff is in here. That's wrong. I'm half asleep. Wait, we have 3 minutes.
Luke show here.
I think so.
The fact of the matter is, great goal. The first goal. Mbappe's goal was quite lucky. Yeah, the marking wasn't great, but still, the finish was quite fortunate how it went in. So I can't really blame anyone for that goal, really. Haaland penalty, great penalty, great performance over from Haaland, despite obviously not many chances for him overall. The Brahim Diaz goal. I mean, seriously, Edison, man, what are you doing?
Yeah, okay, that's also just talked about.
Yeah, he hasn't been playing necessarily bad all the time he's been playing recently, but I just feel like his case isn't clear anymore. End of the season.
I can't see the Luke video. It's on screen.
You can't see it?
No. Sorry.
Oh, wait. You should have told me. Why can't you see it? It stopped sharing my screen. There you go. You can see it now again?
Because
yes,
we people here who want to be here. I want to fight for us. So I want to get back the trophies that obviously going to lose this year. And yeah, I just think Edison to me just his head's elsewhere now, and he costs us the game.
I'm not sure if that's fair to say that he cost us the game.
I think the second goal, the Diaz goal, he's obviously to blame on that. But yes. He's not the main catalyst. I'm going back to whatever that funky hospital pass kick was from Kobe. It's one of the worst passes I've ever seen.
I'm going to go back further. Gundogan coming on, because I think when Gundogan comes on, everyone knows, like, let's be honest, everyone knows Gundogan is finished. So everyone does go into a bit of panic. The players will not say it, but everyone does know that guy is a bit funky. So players, they try to overcompensate. I honestly think that the moment Gundogan comes on, we look more shaky. One, he can't even close the lines anymore. Like, when they go forward to Real Madrid, they're able to go forward so easily because no one is there to plug the holes, to be the defensive midfielder. Gundogan just can't keep up physically. He can't run.
Yeah.
So there's that already. And the other thing is, players panic because they do realize we have to take that over. They'll never say it, but that is what they are thinking. Like, that's the brutal truth.
Yeah, I feel whenever Gundo comes on, and I again love Gundo, but it almost feels like we just lose a man, like we're 10.5 men, because
and he had to go silent too.
Yeah, like I say, just not at that top level. He can't run anymore. Not to the levels he used to be, that's for sure. And look, the body is catching up with him. He's 34, 35 this year, right? Like he's not getting younger. He's only getting older. He's similar age to Kyle Walker, and City fans were advocating against Kyle Walker because of how poor some of the performances were.
To be
And
fair, Kyle Walker more so called that upon himself with the things he said in interviews.
yeah, interviews weren't great, and I'm happy Gundo's not been like that. But yeah, it's a shame for Gundo, and when it comes to part ways, it won't. I'll be sad to see him go, but I'll be happy for the team in a way, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that, but I when we signed him, I said I don't think this is the correct decision, and it's sad, but I just keep being proven right on Gundogan, and I really just don't want him to play at all until the end of the season, not even in cup games, because the FA Cup is the only thing we have left. Let's be honest.
Yeah, the cup we got to basically full send that, and yeah, and in terms of when Gundo joined, not gonna lie, you can go back to my vids, but I was very much on that hype train of the return of Gundo. I was excited for that. But in hindsight, yeah, it was a transfer that never should have been done. It was the love letter type of transfer, and
Yeah,
as shown, it's not worked out how some fans would have hoped. But yeah, it's a shame, and it will have to end in the summer. And quite rightly, in terms of getting minutes, I think the only games I would like to see him start is basically or get any minutes in even like at the Etihad against like Plymouth. When all the odds are in our favour. Okay, not when we're away from home. Don't want him in any away games. Get him in Etihad only games. In the cup. If that's where you want him, then that's where you can use him. But don't use him in the Champions League. It's too much. And
talking about the FA Cup,
Yeah.
a lot of people are salty without draw in the FA Cup.
Against Plymouth.
Yeah, which is funny because they just knocked out Liverpool.
Yeah, it is. Plymouth. What I will say is Liverpool very. I don't know what the word is. I think arrogant might not be the right word, but
No, it's the right word. It's it absolutely fits. Like there's two kids behind me right now. A Club Brugge kid and a Man City kid.
Yeah.
Club Brugge sees this all the time, and it's funny by the way. It's always English teams, never Spanish teams, never the Portuguese teams or anything like that. English teams.
Yeah.
They're so arrogant. When they play against a team, they think that is worse than them. Man City, Club Brugge. When we draw an English team, I'm happy because I know they'll do something stupid and give us the win. Man City was one of the few teams in England that actually didn't have that arrogance and would just play really well. Which is why Man City destroyed Club Brugge, by the way. When Real Madrid didn't, all the teams didn't. So that arrogance is just something rooted in English footballing culture. Especially with the top clubs, I think.
Yeah, like the fact that look in the cup. Obviously, I don't mind you rotating. It makes sense, but they didn't have Salah in the squad. They didn't have Van Dijk.
Why don't you have them on the bench?
I know. Why not have them on the bench? It doesn't make sense. You don't know how games go, especially in the FA Cup. It's it's the magic of the cup. Is what it's
especially away.
I know it's baffling. It's one of the most silliest thing ever. Don't get me wrong. I'm fully fine with rotating, but I would have my stars on the bench in case something goes wrong, just on the off chance it's not going your way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just doesn't.
I don't
sense.
know the thought process there for Arne Slot. I don't know why I say it in English, by the way, because in Dutch it's actually pronounced Arne. I don't know why I always say Arne, but it's actually pronounced Arne in Dutch. Anyhow, let's continue here.
way. Also, Rico Lewis did. Rico Lewis did pretty well coming on at half time for Kanji, which obviously Kanji's out at that edge of the season now, which is great. One player gone now, long robbery, so great. It's never ending right now. In terms of injuries, it's just never stopping, never ending. It's just a never ending nightmare right now of injuries. It's just this season.
Yeah, but let me pause there again. I think a lot of them have been self-caused, to be fair. Like Rodri's injury, we knew he was injured coming out of the Euros final. We decided not to get anyone. That is on us. I said before the season, we need to be prepared to play against Arsenal without Rodri.
Yeah, I was in the summer, I was advocating for Rodri rotation. It don't make no sense to not we needed someone, and we just didn't. And my biggest issue with Rodri's return was a quote that came out from Pep not too long ago, and he said that we rushed Rodri back because I needed him for Inter and Arsenal. Why would you do that? That's had such a detrimental effect on our season. I know those are tough games, but we just got to tough it out.
Let's just say we lose both of those games, Inter and Arsenal. But Rodri is fit for the rest of the season, which the season Arsenal has had. He won't be above them.
Yeah, the season changes. It's a completely different season. Maybe we're not top. Maybe we still have some silly moments, but we are definitely better than what we have been.
Yeah, absolutely. And if he then gets that Theo Hernandez, which a lot of people don't like Theo Hernandez. Do those people watch Serie A? I'm not sure. He's so solid. Theo Hernandez, if we had him, that would be an extra fullback. We could play him left back. Rest Guardiol and Aki with each other. Then Akanji can get a bit of rotations. We can just rotate that back line so much more. You can have Rico Lewis start in the smaller games. Have Theo on right back if you're really desperate, which we are with Kyle Walker. So a lot of these injuries are of our own making.
Yeah, I completely agree. It comes partly down to the fact that Pep denied a summer rebuild. Or at least the beginning of a rebuild. It comes spiraling back down to that, and that's obviously why we've done jam business. Just feels like it could be too little, too late for this season. It's all about next season now, really. Any business we do.
Which nobody would have predicted that, by the way, in this summer. Even I'm prime negative. And by the way, if you're an English football fan and you don't understand why Europeans are so negative, well, you're European, but it's not really. It don't count. You're not on the continent. It's because our entire history is plague. Oh, you have a summit now. Oh no, plague. Europeans are just negative. Whether it's football, whether it's anything. Ask a German how his day is. He will ask you, why are you talking to me? You get me? Europeans are just like that, so don't take it too personally. Pep shot himself with some of those injuries. From Rosa. Yeah, it's weird what he did.
Can really go to hell, really, for what I care. I think, in terms of my actual thoughts and everything, I just feel like at the moment it's just it's a real head scratcher, because we all know the issues in this team. We all know what needs to be sorted, and Pep definitely has helped us. I know Pep is Alf's opinion, and fair enough, I respect that opinion. It's not mine per se, but
we'll talk more about that later.
Where people are coming from when I say Pep out, I understand where they're coming from. Look, again, the day, if you don't like that opinion, it's down to you. But at the end of the day, it's an opinion that they should be allowed to have. But in my opinion, I don't think it's necessarily Pep. Pep's obviously part of the problem, but it isn't just Pep; it's a collective issue. And I think this season won't solve anything. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter if we have players back.
It'd be great if Luke was here right now, because I actually want to ask him what he means with it's a collective issue, because if it's a collective issue, and maybe I'm misunderstanding, the manager manages the collective. So won't a collective issue just be a managerial issue? The issue is not having Darwin Nunez. Darwin Nunez will fix this club Rosa, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not sure what he means by that. So I'm not going to comment on it too much. Not going to try to misrepresent him. So it would be great if he was here so he could explain that. But yeah, I'll just leave that one go because I'm not quite sure what he means.
Fit and the whole team ready to go with elite signings now. The mentality of the team is in the bin, and we've got to start moving forward now. As a team, moving forward, and
Mentality is in the bin. And do you agree with this? Managers should be able to influence the mentality of their team.
I do agree that managers should be able to have some impact on that, but I think sometimes it can come down to like just the player at the core of themselves. Like some players, it'll work a treat. Like there are some players that I don't doubt their mentality.
Most of these players, Connect, we have had for a long time. So the mentality suddenly switching can't just be the players themselves, right?
I think what could be an issue is like you said, we've had these players a long time, and I almost feel like Pep obviously has tricks like he likes to do to like keep the players on their toes, for example, to keep their mentalities fresh and all that, to keep the hunger up. But some of these players, they find everything there is to win now. Like 17 trophies in the last 7 years, it's wild how much we've won. And I just feel it partly comes down to Pep, what he said in an interview in the treble season, which was partly a turning point, where he questioned the players' hunger, and he said, like, there's no hunger anymore, something like that. And it partly comes down to that because, like, personally, I don't feel like, say I've been at a club for 8 years, I've won literally everything. I feel like there does come a point where maybe you're like, oh, I'm winning this again, and I'm winning that again.
Yeah.
And maybe one day you just feel, I want to win something else. And
Yeah,
that could be a possibility.
That's part of it. I agree. I think one of the things that makes Pep so good, in the treble season, for example, is his ability to ignite that fire. He doesn't have that right now, and I'm actually gonna have to go soon here. I just realized the time. So I would love to finish this video, but I might have to go soon. So let me just quickly get my thoughts out here. I think if you have players who are losing that hunger, you can see that over the summer. I think watching that Real Madrid game, Pep Guardiola also lost a lot of hunger. I think a lot of the same issues from the four-beat season are still relevant. And the only reason why in the four-beat season we were fine is because we had Rodri then. And I mean, no defensive midfielder is fixing these issues. Nico Gonzalez is not fixing this because the issues were also there in the four-beat season. Rodri was the one bailing us out. No one else in the world is doing that. Maybe Nico Gonzalez in 3-4 years will be that level of player. He is not right now. So that is just my final thoughts on that. I do have to go to soon. I've got 5 minutes, so you can go for 5 minutes, and then unfortunately we'll have to end the stream early.
All right, no, it's fine. But I think on last season, I think you're basically on something there. Rodri last season, we all know how unbelievable it was, and it showed because he won the Ballon d'Or. But yeah, Rodri last season, he was so unreal that he was more than like just like patching a hole in the team. It was almost like he was patching all the holes at times because he was that good. That he was so good. He made us. It hid all the bad, essentially. You know, it hid all the weaknesses. And now that the Rodri injuries happened, all those weaknesses are out and are flourishing. And And that's why I partly think I feel awful for the Rodri injury, because not just because it's affected us, but it's obviously affected him. It's an awful injury to get, but a part of it could be seen as a blessing in disguise, almost, because it's in a sense, because it's highlighted all the issues. Like everyone has been thrown out to dry here. Like you can see how much issues we have,
Like
and
Carl Walker, for example. Like you're talking about issues. I think Carl Walker in the 4-beat season was nowhere near this bad. I think over the summer, he like in the 4-beat season he was bad. Don't get me wrong. I think in the summer he just dropped down again. At the start of this season, it wasn't too bad, but as the season goes on, he got worse and worse and worse. Now you see him at AC Milan. His first game, okay. I'm hearing from AC Milan fans. I'm not watching him myself. He is actually starting to play worse against. So some of these players, they just get old. And when you're old, you can catch that second wind sometimes, but you can't do it consistently anymore. And I see what you're saying with Rodri being lucky in some way. I personally pointed out a lot of these issues in the 4-beat season. I don't think we needed Rodri's injury to see that. I think all we needed was to look at the 3 games that Rodri didn't play.
I agree. I do agree that I do think the issues were clear there, because the drop from the treble season to the
3 games,
and they were there to be seen, and there were clear weaknesses, and the amount of minutes Rodri played last season for us were astronomical, and that's why they were partly hidden. And I just think if we if Pep maybe looked at those defeats, analysed them a bit more, maybe not questioning that he has or hasn't, but if he just looked at them a bit more, really analysed them, saw how we got cooked. Like Villa was a 1-0 loss, but we got cooked. Like we didn't get a shot beyond the 20th minute. It was
Arsenal was a bit unlucky, to be fair, but we were not good that game either. Arsenal was not good that game, so to be fair. But what I suppose is the conclusion to this, I don't know if you agree, is Pep was just lacking ruthlessness, because obviously he reviewed those games. He just lacked ruthlessness. In the window, he's been unable to pull the trigger on a lot of players we've had for a long time, and that's why we then start to rebuild.
Yeah, I think it's quite clear Pep, he likes to trust the players that have done it for him. Like, he plays Bernardo a lot, and he even plays Gundo a lot. Players that have been there when it's mattered most for him. And I think ruthlessness is right, to be fair, to at least some extent. No, there was no doubt in the summer that we needed more than Savinho and Gundogan. It was so clear. And I think it does partly come down to the lack of wanting to take a little bit of a risk in a rebuild. Although I think it would be more beneficial over the years to come. But I just feel you're basically right, to be fair. I love Pep, but I do think there was probably a ruthlessness issue.
I've got a really good question here from the Seals, and he's playing devil's advocate, I think. But I think that's a perfect place to end stream off of. You think this is a new learning experience for Pep, but never have been at a club this long. So he's never had to bin off the players that did it for him in the past. He's never been this long at a club. Do you think that this is something new for Pep to learn? When you're at a club this long, sometimes the players that used to do it for you now don't anymore.
That is actually a great question. That is really good, fair play. I think that might be right. It is a learning curve, because he spent 3 years at Bayern, a good few at Barca, but this is by far been his longest. This is by far been his longest. By the time his contract ends, he would have done, I think, 11 seasons. he's
Yeah.
never. You don't have one squad over 11 seasons. You have
You don't.
one like proper prime squad, and then you at the very minimum have a squad that's been rebuilt and is one to look forward to.
I agree.
Yeah, I think
I'm
I
not
think that's
sure
bang on.
if you'll learn from this because 55 is very old to get a new life lesson here. But I mean, I'm Pep out. You know why? Go look at my video. I'm not going to start an entire debate now because I do have to go. But I think if he can learn from this, great. I personally just don't think he will. But maybe that's a me issue. We know the club is not sacking him, whether you're Pep in or out. The club is not sacking him. So hold that, I suppose, if you're Pep out. And thank you for watching to everyone. That's a bit of an abrupt ending, but I do have to go. My parents are fuming. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Anything else you want to say?
Thank you for having me on again. It's been great doing the Blue Friday show.
And